日の夜から7日の卒業にかけて親衛部隊が後輩とコレヒドールへ押し寄せた時、敵はもはや抵抗する。
Jap newsreel cameramen had themselves a field day on May 6, 1942. Americans will remember that date. May 6, 1942. That was when Corregidor fell. This is a Jap's eye view of the ceremonies. The film was rushed by plane to Tokyo. They loved it there. And in Manila, the whole Jap 5th column came out to welcome General Masaharu Hama, conqueror of the Philippines. It was the biggest day of General Hama's life, and 50,000 fanatic Jap soldiers bought it for him with their lives. As far as the general was concerned, it would have been cheap at twice the price. He'd already put himself on record. Quote, "Japan is prepared to lose 10 million lives in her war with America. How many is America prepared to lose?" Well, it wasn't an easy question to answer. Life isn't cheap in America. We don't raise our boys to be gods in little white boxes. We had other ideas. And by February 44, the Japs were beginning to find out. In the Southwest Pacific area alone, our lines of communication and supply had to cover amazing distances. A comparison of the United States with only a portion of this area shows the tremendous logistic problem. Our strategic objectives in the Southwest Pacific were New Britain and New Ireland. Possession of these islands would isolate the Japs left in the Solomons, protect the right flank of the Australian units, shoving up the east coast of New Guinea toward Madang, and cut 2 of the 3 major supply lines feeding New Guinea. But the New Britain and New Ireland Japs were entrenched in a strong zone of defense. Madang, Wewak, the Admiralties, Kavieng, and at the heart, tough, troop-packed Rabaul. Each fortress had a harbor for ships and subs, airfields crowded with planes, fat concentrations of men. So, how to take New Britain and New Ireland? One way was to pour everything we had into a head-on attack. But that costs a lot of lives. To get the same results at the smallest cost called for a better strategy. And strategy is their business. Here's the strategy. First, grab the Admiralties. Why? Because those islands are a vital link in the chain of supply to New Britain and New Ireland. How? Throw a feint at New Britain. A naval bombardment. The Japs expect to punch there. But our real objectives will be 2 airstrips in the Admiralties. One on Manus Island, largest of the Admiralty group. The other on Los Negros. The South Pacific Air Force will guard our right flank with bombs on Kavieng. Australian infantry, supported by our 5th Air Force, will protect our left flank by smashing toward Madang. The Pacific Fleet will hammer truck to disrupt the flow of supply and reinforcements. These feints and diversions should keep the Japs busy. At the right time, the 1st Cavalry Division will jump off for the Admiralties, while the 6th Infantry Division stands by, just in case. That's a lot of plan, but it's only the beginning. Once we've sunk our heels into the Admiralties, another task force can drive a wedge between Madang and Wewak at Hansa Bay. At the same time, Admiral Halsey's South Pacific forces will drive against Kavieng. What will all this accomplish? The complete isolation of New Britain and New Ireland. The Japs can surrender or rot. But Army intelligence knows that no plan can be final until D-Day, because information of the enemy keeps flowing in from many sources, constantly changing what we already know. And latest information from the Admiralties was getting interesting. Pilots buzzing the airstrip on Los Negros Island reported very light acting. No aerial interception. And what was most interesting, the airstrip looked deserted. To make sure, a scouting patrol was slipped into Los Negros. 6 men whose job for 24 hours would be to see without being seen. They saw Jap Marines, thousands of them, but their defenses were not manned, and their outposts were lax, carelessly inviting surprise. Our picture of the Admiralties is clearer now. Look it over. Manus, strong. Los Negros, weak, exposed to attack from the east. If we could grab the airstrip on Los Negros first, we could use land-based planes to air protect our big try against Manus. It would no longer be necessary to assemble a full-scale amphibious force. We'd save 6 weeks on our timetables. The chance was too good to miss. Monday, February 28, 1944. Quietly, secretly, 800 men assembled for invasion. Reconnaissance in force to fight off the first beachhead in the Admiralties. Men of the 1st Cavalry Division, whose 7th Regiment once died with Custer, now ride again, this time in Higgins boats. "800 men to invade an island holding more than 3,000 Japs. Risky? Plenty. But it's a calculated risk, based on what we know about our opponent's hand. This is no armada, a small fleet, a fistful of men to do a job planned for a division, but armed with war's best weapon, surprise. They'll hit the beach tomorrow at 08:15. That's H-up. D-Day, Los Negros Island. Spitfires, air cover on the way. The first wave goes over the side. The Spits peel off for attack. Diving in pairs, they plaster the beach. A few Jap guns are still alive, but the first wave keeps moving in. B-25s, low level, heavy stuff. H-hour minus 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, H-hour. Yank footprints on a Jap beachhead. Battle becomes personal. It's always personal for the guy on the ground. The Jap's a tough target. You know he's around. That's all you know. This kind of fighting is different. You feel your way. Follow a hunch, a sound. This is jungle war. Delayed by enemy shore batteries, the second wave finally gets through. More men, more firepower. Get to the edge of the strip, but we're pinned down, outnumbered. The Air Force cuts them down to size. Yank patrols get across. We take the strip. H-hour plus 480. A shrewd military gamble pays off. Time for decisions. Exploiting initial success. Reinforcements. Supplies. Tactics. Defense against counterattacks. And now, it's hold on to what you've got. For 3 days, 3 nights, they held on against frenzied suicidal counterattacks till Los Negros Strip was ours. For the Corps men and medics, no office hours. Private Tower, one of our cameramen, fatally wounded. Final count, 61 Americans. Japs, 3,000.